Today is version number 7. So, okay, now that Marilyn's here, I feel comfortable with starting, okay, for what it's worth. All right, so let me get rid of that. Let's stop sharing. Let's turn on our video and let's start. Good morning, or I should say good afternoon. Welcome to, as I mentioned, this is our 7th rendition of the weekly campaign forum. I'd like to start with particularly today with our candidates who are running in townships. Then they'll have a little Q&A from Marilyn's usually good for a question or two, okay? And then a little discussion just generally about, let's talk about townships. What township am I in? What are the borders? What offices are actually up for election in the township? And what services do the townships provide us? Those would be our little discussion topics like that. We could sneak in some stuff on city council and planning and zoning too if there's time. But normally we try to get this all done within about 45 minutes so we can kind of sneak it in lunch hour. So without much ado, I'd like to start. Kelly, I'd like basically our first part is just an introduction. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and the office you're running for?
Sure. I'm Kelly Hickey, and I'm running for Wheatland Township Board Supervisor. I've lived in Wheatland Township in the Ashbury neighborhood for about 18 years. My husband and I raised our 2 sons here. They both graduated from Neuqua Valley. They're both Eagle Scouts. So we were a big scouting family when they were growing up. Then I would say that I was a stay-at-home mom for the most of the time that I've lived here. And that was the right decision for my family because my younger son has autism spectrum disorder. So I needed to be his advocate in our schools and in our community. And that kind of led to my first brush with politics. I worked with a group of very motivated moms who were looking to get some equity in insurance coverage in Illinois for people with autism spectrum disorder and treatments for autism spectrum disorder. So I would say in about 2017, I bet you know why, I got more involved in local politics, and I started volunteering on campaigns, national, local, state, and I really liked it. And I got more involved with the Wheatland Township Democratic Organization. They're a great group of people. If you haven't, please check them out if you're in Wheatland Township. And we basically really kind of coalesced around the idea that local government is very important. And the more that I learned, the more I felt I had something to offer. And for those of you who don't know, township government in the state of Illinois is basically, by law, there to provide 3 things, which is assessing real property for taxes, which I think all of our townships do very well. Then maintaining roads and bridges that aren't maintained by other units of government. And finally, it's providing general assistance to the indigent in the township. And that's an area that I think really needs to be explored, especially during this time with a pandemic going on and record-setting unemployment. Even in our area, there are people in need, and I bet most of us did not know that we could turn to our township government for some assistance. So that is me, but thank you for having me here today.
Oh, no, thank you for helping us educate on the townships. I'd like to go over to Autumn. Autumn, welcome to Weekly Campaign Forum.
Well, thank you so much for having me. Obviously, I'm Autumn Geist. I'm a candidate for Lisle Township Trustee. I have been a Lisle resident for, oh my goodness, 28 years. And 25 of those years, I have volunteered in and out of the community in large and small ways. So I come to the table having served by mentoring teen moms. I have helped raise money for programs that support families and individuals through programs like Project Help, NCO Youth and Family Services. And I've been a long-time volunteer in and outside of the school as well. And as I became an empty nester well, sort of an empty nester. He's back home now, but
The
last
modern
fall,
way.
yeah, they never really leave, do they? I became an empty nester, and I was looking for ways to be more involved in a bigger way to expand my reach once I was no longer in the schools. And so this was just a really good fit for me. So I'm really looking forward to earning the trust and vote of the voters. We're 46 days away from April 6th. It's just around the bend.
It's coming quick, that's for sure. Okay, I'd like to go, Lisa Rose, please. I believe you're also a township candidate in Lisle, right?
That is correct. I am running for Lisle Township Trustee along with Autumn on this call. I have a similar background, well, just how I got started in any kind of political things to get me to this point as Kelly. So I am an 18-year resident of Southeast Naperville in the township. And basically I met my husband, we got married, and had a daughter who's now 16, and I've been here for about, those 18 years. I was active in the home and school. I was a room parent, an art awareness teacher, and a Girl Scout leader. And then 2016 came, and the next thing I know, I am in an indivisible group with a group of women trying to make a difference after 45 got elected. So initially we started helping out a friend of ours who was running for office, and ended up becoming involved with the Lisle Township Democratic Organization, which is a very good organization. Became a precinct committee person, started going around to my neighbors and giving them information and encouraging them to vote. And here I am today. So running for Lisle Township Trustee, along with a great slate of very energetic and committed and qualified people who would like to, one of the main things is to at least let people know what the township has to offer. Because up to this point, not a whole lot of communication, not a whole lot of knowledge. And I think once people, like Kelly said, realize that there are services for people that need them, people should be able to connect with that. So I'm pleased to be here. I've seen a lot of people here on the campaign trail as I've gone to different meetings, and it's good to see you all.
Good to see you too, Lisa. Thank you very much. Dave, are you also a township candidate?
No, Mark, not. I'm just an elected precinct committeeman.
Okay.
I'm in Lisle Township. I live in Naperville.
Yeah, which is one of the great confusions of this entire thing. Top of the morning, Nate. Is that and we'll kind of deal with that a little bit because it is a little crazy. I see Anita, you are running for a township office in Wheatland Township. Is that correct?
Yes. Hi. Thanks, Mark and everybody. I'm Anita Liskey. I'm running on the same slate as Kelly Hickey for Wheatland Township, and I'm running for the clerk position. So
I hope you're going to talk.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm trying to understand why we're getting a little feedback. Vince, I'm going to mute you for the moment, just in case. Okay.
It could be I've been having such terrible time with my computer this week. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can. I guess we're all suffering from a little Zoomitis. There's no question about it. Someday we'll actually see real people again that are like three-dimensional.
I can't wait, and we're not interrupting each other awkwardly. It's tough following all the folks who just spoke because you guys took all the good points that I was going to hopefully make. So I'm going to try not to be redundant, and I'll just focus on me. And I have lived in Naperville for almost 20 years. I'm in South Naperville. I've been a working mom the whole time. I've raised my two sons here. My husband and I live, like I said, south. I was very active in the schools. I commute to the city where I do marketing and communications for the CME Group Financial Exchange. And through my job, I've been very active in government relations, and I've done a lot of stuff at the federal level and a fair amount at the state level. But like a lot of the women here, when the former president got elected, it just turned something in me, and I just wanted to get really involved. So increasingly, I've been looking for ways to do that. I'm super excited that this possibility is open, because I do think there's a lot a lot of work that needs to be done to educate people on the township, on what it can do for them, on what the services are. You know, I got to tell you, like I said, I've been commuting to the city for, you know, nearly 20 years while being a working mom. If it weren't for the services, I mean, this is far, right? But if it weren't for the services and the great community that we have, I don't think I would be able to do what I've accomplished professionally. And I want to help others like me, you know, do the same in whatever way that I can. Initially, I think education and outreach is a big need that I think I can help fulfill at the township level.
Well, thank you. That's great. Drew, you're running also for township in Lao, right?
Yes. Hi, everybody. My name is Drew Bolda. I'm running for Lisle Township Highway Commissioner. I moved into what is Downers Grove in December 2007, and started getting active in politics in more than a sports fan way. I would say in 2011, when I was collecting signatures for Obama for America in Lisle, and it was a long ways between houses to collect signatures. I walked during 2016 for Tammy and Bill Foster and Hillary. But I was walking primarily out of the Downers Grove office. I wasn't even aware that I'd lived in a township that was not attached to the city of Downers Grove. And when it came time to do caucus, they asked me, well, what side of Woodward Avenue do you live on? And I'm like, well, just on the west side. Well, then you can't really vote or do anything in our caucus. You're welcome to come by. But where you really belong is there's a Stevens restaurant at the time. And so I went there, and I ended up being volunteering to run for trustee 4 years ago. And this year we put together a strong slate. It was no longer who's going to show up, because at December 2016, there was a lot of people showed up who, some of whom had strong plans, some of whom were very new, extremely new, and very upset, and wanting to do something, wanting to change something. But the things like the Women's March and things like that for people to coalesce and organize around hadn't happened. So I've been active in both Downers Grove Township and Lisle Township organizations. And I now, and that includes Naperville, half of Naperville up to Washington Avenue. And I've only walked one precinct. No, I've walked 3 precincts so far in January in Naperville. And I was surprised how sprawling Naperville is, that it covers Naperville Township, Lisle Township, as well as Wheatland Township. Is there anybody I left out? I don't want to offend anybody if you've got to add a few more townships in there, Mark.
There's 3 more townships, actually, crazy as it seems. There's Milton Township, there's DuPage Township, and is the 6th one Winfield? There's 2 north. Is that what it is? It's
6 townships for Naperville?
Well, we only touched the north. The north townships are just a smidge. Probably 90% of Naperville lives in Naperville Township, Lisle Township, and actually a lot of growth has come to the south in Wheatland Township. Okay, this is a significant portion of the Naperville Township community. And one of the reasons I wanted to have this meeting, because it's interesting when you talk to people, their eyes kind of glaze over a little bit in this discussion. And I see Marilyn did ask us a question in chat. So did I get all the township candidates? Did I miss anybody for township? Okay, then I'm going to run through some of those the other people are with us very quickly this morning. Okay, I see that, you know, taking them in the order I saw them show up. Leslie, if you'd introduce yourself real quickly.
Hi, thanks so much. It's so good to see so many familiar faces. And I have to apologize. All of you are going to miss out on the filter that I accidentally had on my face last night during a candidate forum, in which I had butterflies as eyes, thanks to my 6-year-old who had used my iPad for Zooming dance. So that was a fun experience that I've never had before, but everybody on that call will never forget me. So you don't get any filters today. So just real quick, I know most of you already know me. I'm Leslie Ruffing, running for Naperville Park District Commissioner. I'm lucky enough to live just down the street from Miss Kelly Hickey. I've lived in South Naperville for about 9 years with my husband and 2 daughters. Ever since being here, you know, being an active community member has been really important to me. I'm a frequent volunteer at my daughter's school. I have chaired multiple committee positions for the PTA. I'm my eldest daughter's Girl Scout leader. But then recently in the last several years, my volunteer focus has been on gun violence prevention and gun safety advocacy. I've spent over 15 years as a structured settlement annuity broker, so I have a lot of experience with spending and budgeting. And I, intend to take those skills as to be a good fiscal responsible board member and really promote transparency during decision making. And I'll leave it there. Thanks so much again, Mark, for having us.
Oh, it's a pleasure to have the candidate turnout. I know there's so many demands on your time. Believe me, I relate to that, and it's wonderful that you can come here and talk to us. Speaking of park districts, I see we've got a couple other candidates. So, Allison, why don't we? Allison with a single L, not to be confused with Allison Longerbaugh, who is also here, but she's a 2L Allison, so we have to keep them separate.
Got to have that distinction, right?
Absolutely. Even though you're both outstanding.
I'm Allison Thompson. I'm running for Park District Commission Board. Excited to be here again. I lost my management job, my local management job, due to cutbacks to COVID-19. And that kind of prompted me to get more involved politically. And so I was looking for a way to really make a difference on the ground level. And I discovered the Park District Board. And I thought, especially as someone who grew up in Naperville, used the Park District services my whole life, and now as a young mother in Naperville, I really could bring a unique voice to the board. And I felt like women's voices in particular were very underrepresented, and I really believe that representation is very important, especially in politics. I don't want to take up too much time because I know we got a lot of Lisle Township people here, a lot of township people in general, which I didn't even know what a township was until last year. So I love that. I love that there's more awareness and everything, and love discovering that. But I just want to let you guys know that I do want to ensure that Naperville residents have the same access to programming, affordability, making sure that we're comparing our prices to other programming in other cities is really important to me. I want to make sure that our programming is also reflective of both our culturally diverse city and also the neurodiversity that exists in our city too. I want to make sure that budgets are spent responsibly in the best interests of Naperville citizens, making sure that time, money, and park resources are spent for the citizens and nothing else. I want to make sure that we continue to lead other cities in environmental stewardship and make sure that the parks are the destination of our city. So I just humbly ask everyone for your support on our upcoming election on April 6th. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Allison. Nathan, how about you? Another Park District candidate, Mr. Nathan Wilson.
Yeah, the third one here. Yeah, my name is Nathan Wilson. I'm one of the other Park District candidates. I live actually in the same neighborhood as Leslie and Kelly, happens to be the case. But I'm running as a lot of the reason I'm running is for the board to maintain fiscal responsibility. And I have a background in finance. I work on financial applications as a senior software developer. So I want to use some of my experience and background in order to help the board push fiscal responsibility. So an example of that would be trying not to balloon tax levies, for example. Which I think Mark can appreciate, as he talks quite a bit about our property taxes, as we know. But yeah, I live in South Naperville, have 2 young children as well. We participate in the parks programs, anywhere from using Knock Knolls Parks and taking environment classes there to me coaching their soccer team. So heavily involved with that, and we want to make sure that we maintain fiscal discipline and meet the taxpayers' demands for what's being requested. And to me, that's spending money efficiently is meeting the demands of the taxpayers. So.
Thank you. Great, Nathan. That's great. Last but certainly not least of our Park District candidates is Rhonda. Good morning, Rhonda.
Hi, thanks for having this forum every week that we can all join. So my name is Rhonda Anseer. I'm running for Naperville Park District Commissioner as well. I've been living in Naperville 5 years. I grew up just north of here in Wheaton and Carroll Streams. I also have 2 young children and I work as a nurse practitioner. We use the Park District a lot, and I was inspired to run just, trying to think of ways to get more involved in the community, to see the community evolve and grow and change, the way that we would all benefit from and would all would like to see. So I would like to, on the Park District Board, really promote accessibility and affordability for all of the community, accessibility in all aspects of it, including making sure everybody, with COVID, of course, now we've all kind of gotten used to doing things like this on Zoom. Park District has some programs that do those kinds of things, but accessibility like that has been necessary even before the pandemic. There are always people who cannot get out of their homes or maybe don't want to. And there's different ways we could be reaching them as well, including other kinds of programming. So diversifying the programming would also benefit the community that way. Offering things like maybe virtual cooking classes. A lot of the diversity that Naperville has is not very well represented right now on the board and in programming. So that's something I would also like to explore bringing to the board as well. So those are just a couple of the things I would like to work on with the Park District, and a lot of transparency as well. Having the board meetings be really open, a lot of feedback from the community. As a nurse, I'm used to listening to people and working with them to figure out the best way to take care of themselves. So I would like to be able to work with the community to better serve their needs. So that's what I would bring to the position should I be elected April 5th. And I would appreciate your support. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Rhonda. That was really great. Okay, I see we still have a couple of our most loyal weekly campaign forum attendees. So I'd like to take a moment to an outstanding candidate for City Council, Allison Longerbaugh. Allison, good morning.
Good morning, Mark. Well, actually afternoon now. Thank you so much.
I guess you're right. Yeah, I never get that right.
I'm like, is it morning?
Somewhere.
Somewhere, yes. So I'm Allison Longerbaugh. I'm running for Naperville City Council. I have hot pink signs. So if you want one, let me know. They look awesome in the snow. I'm running because I want to be the voice for the neighbors who don't feel like sitting through those long city council meetings and who feel like they're really not listening. My platform is to help the city, have the city help residents and small businesses get back on their feet after COVID, to advocate for a transparent development process that brings everybody to the table and that has an affordable component. And I really want the city to get back to basics and talk about things like snow removal and leaf pickup and composting and traffic. And we've kind of strayed from that in recent meetings, although last one was a good example of what we should be doing. And I really want council to get back to its roots. So that's my platform. Anita, I work for JP Morgan with the futures brokerage. So I'm, at some point we'll have to chat if you're with the CME. I haven't been downtown since March, but
neither have I. Yes, let's definitely do that.
So yeah, so that's me, number 7 on the ballot, lucky number 7. Thanks, Mark.
That's right, running for you, right?
That's right. I'm literally running from you. I already did my run earlier today. I have a TikTok up there right now about fire hydrants. Did everybody know that you should be clearing 3 feet away from your fire hydrant so that fire department can access it? So TikTok right now. I haven't posted anywhere else yet.
I did not know that. Thank you, Allison.
Yeah, I didn't either.
I know they put those sticks up now, right, to kind of show you where the fire hydrants are. I think that's important.
Yeah, but not all of them had it. Only a few of them had sticks. There were some really good examples of the 3 feet clearance, but then there were a lot that you could just barely see the little orange peeking up the top.
Yeah, I think most people's spirit has been broken by the onslaught of February snow and cold. It has been unrelenting. Okay, thank you, Allison. Vince, good morning. Audit or talk?
Okay. Yeah, it's good to be here, and it's good to be on a meeting with so many interesting people. And, my campaign is based on financing, and I keep being told by different candidates that everything is fine in Naperville. And that was told to me last night at the Caroline meeting. And I look back on this year, and there was $1.5 million spent in my neighborhood for different projects, for 450, which Mark knows well about, for the 450,000. There was another project that little known, Razio's Tavern, that was torn down. It cost the city $1 million. And there's, the park district had to go through probably $25,000 to take down College Park. So where did that money come from? Those are questions that I would like to be answered. And I think the city does have a lot of money that is floating around that it's using not correctly for our benefits. So question the financing, where it's coming from, where it's going to, and I think everybody will be a little bit more educated about what's happening in the city. So that's what I got today. Thanks.
Well, thank you, Vince. Hi. And for those who don't know me, I'm Mark Herta. I'm also running for city council. My involvement pretty much stems from the last 5 years working with the Historic Preservation Commission. I've greatly enjoyed, working with the citizens, getting to know the different departments in the city, working many times talking to city council. I guess the big lesson I learned in this process is that commissions advise and elected bodies decide. And that's the way it should be. Okay. And I want to be part of those decisions. I think I bring a lot of experience on a personal, a business, and a civic level to that. And I'm particularly motivated to make sure that the citizens, the residents of Naperville, are heard. Okay. This what we're doing here today is first and foremost for the residents so that we can put our information out there and get them an informed body. One thing that I'm very, very passionate about, and I promise not to go on too long, but is the importance of the municipal election. It's amazing to me that the election that is the most poorly attended, which is our municipal elections, we get 12 or 14% people to come out to them. They're the ones that impact you every day. They impact your taxes, they impact your zoning, they impact your development, your schools and your parks, your township offices. And I appeal to all of us to do our best to educate our friends, our neighbors, whatever, about the importance of being involved in this upcoming election. Okay, it's the one that really impacts your life. All right. So with that, I think I'd like to turn it over. I do want to make one quick shout out here, and it may embarrass him, but I'm going to do it anyhow. Very fortunate to have Ashfaq Syed with us today. I have never seen a man who is more active in the political scene than this guy. He is everywhere doing everything. And I just want to say on behalf of the Naperville community, thank you for your involvement. And also for, I know that you don't represent ICN as such, but the ICN community is particularly active and it's very impressive. So thank you, Ashfaq.
Thank you so much, Mark. Thank you so much for your kind words. So my thought process always have been that we cannot sit and complain. We have to be at the front to help the best candidates and get them on the seat. And definitely, officially, I am not the representative of ICN. We have a board who represent ICN, but I'm part of the ICN committee where I politically, I'm the member of a political engagement team of ICN. I was the vice chair of political engagement team of ICN also. Thank you so much, Mark. Thank you.
Well, no, thank you. Your involvement is inspirational. It really is. I mean that. I think many people have benefited by your involvement and just keep going. It's awesome. Now, Marilyn, you think I wasn't going to get to your question, but you're wrong. See, it just took us a little bit. And Marilyn's question is for township candidates. And let's see what you said. It says way all the way back up here. For township candidates, how do you suggest getting residents more knowledgeable about townships? Via links from the county or municipalities? Thoughts? Anybody want to take a swing?
Sure, I will.
Please.
I think that we need to meet the residents of our township where they are. And that means using social media. For example, Wheatland Township, they had not updated any of their Facebook pages since 2019 until we brought it up a couple weeks ago in a meeting. So it's good to know they're taking their cues from us. But I also think that we need to be very conscious that there is a section of our population who still isn't comfortable with computers. And so we do need to have traditional newsletters and newspaper ads and things like that, just to make sure that we're hitting everybody and making sure that they're getting the word that we want them to, and being as transparent as possible. Putting live streaming meetings on Facebook, I think would be a good thing. I don't know how many of you have been to a township meeting. Right now, they're very brief. So it takes me longer to get there than it does for most of the meetings. And it's like maybe 2 miles from my house. So that's what I think.
Okay. Yes, Lisa.
So one of the things I figure is that we need to educate the community about what the township does, the services that it provides. And by doing this, we could update the website, like Kelly said. She has that, we have the same issue. It's outdated materials on there. And then the other form of outreach is that the Township Highway Commissioner sends a quarterly newsletter to those that are in unincorporated areas. So that being said, improving the website, improving social media outreach, and then I thought maybe we can create some sort of mini handbook for those that actually like pen and paper or just paper and ink, to talk about what the township does and what the services are. I'd kind of like to increase community engagement by offering open houses so that people can see the actual physical building, look at the food pantry, check out the organic garden that the volunteers work on all summer long in order to provide food for the pantry. And then I think the website could do a better job just educating about the departments, what they do, as well as the services, and also about what partnerships they have, so that, you know, if sorry, the cat is running.
I love your cat.
The cat is like on a workout here.
Yeah.
But just like, you know, maybe highlighting calendar of events and announcements. Just I just would like to look at other means of communication to just, you know, you got to educate in order for them to get engaged and to be on board, to be a part of the conversation. So those are some of my ideas.
Thank you. I think, Autumn, did I see that you had your hand up?
I did, but I think Lisa covered what I was going to say. I guess I'll just add one more piece to that is, and also Kelly did too, with the quarterly, with like a newsletter. I think that, you know, the problem is there is a population, like Kelly said, that is not comfortable with technology. So I think we do have to go to some old school ways. One of the things that I think would be positive is, well, once it's safe, you know, coffee with the trustees, where people really have an opportunity to ask questions and are not maybe as intimidated as they would be in an actual formal board meeting. We've been holding coffees with the candidates, similar to what you're doing today. And one of the things that an attendee suggested is that we continue doing that if elected. And I think that that would be a really powerful tool. Thank you.
I agree 100%. Drew, I see that you have your hand up. Would you like to say something?
Thanks, Mark. Yeah, I want to echo again, website, because it's just, you know, what's on the website depends upon what website you look at. There is a Township of Illinois Highway Commissioner's website, which has 6-year-old information and it's all blank. It doesn't even refer to another website for current information. And the Lisle Township website itself just has a PDF version of the quarterly newsletter. And basic things like, where does my township begin and end? What is a township road responsibility? Basic things like, you know, what is the, you know, if it's easy to present in graphical form, what are the load limits and weight limits, and why is it that we can't have trucks coming through and not through. And I understand, and I've talked to some residents who would say, we're not the computer type of folks. And yet, if I ask them, well, do you share photos with your grandchildren on your phone? They'll say, you know, yes. They send out photos of their pets to their grandchildren or what have you, and they can still stay connected, but it's with a mobile device and not necessarily with a desktop or a laptop. And so there's ways to do that, whether it's going to be the Nextdoor app or social media, just to make sure that people have a way to say, you know, I've got people racing down the township road and there's a school bus pickup on there, and you know, please do something. Or somebody just put a utility pole in the middle of the ditch and now my water doesn't drain. Real conversations I had in January when the weather was nice and it was a good time to walk. So those things, you know, it's nice that I could get out and talk to these people. But it's also nice if they could proactively not wait for me to get around and do lit drops, and then they happen to be home at the same time I'm dropping lit. Thanks.
Well, thank you, Drew. Okay. Any other questions for any of the candidates?
Can I just add something?
Of course.
Okay, thank you. I do want to give a shout out for the city of Naperville. I think that they do really an excellent job of their communications. I mean, both through things like Naper Notify, but also through their, you know, sign up for meeting agendas. It's very easy to, you know, through their website when they redid that. I think it was about 10 years ago, and they set up a lot of their communication. I think that's a really pretty good model. Maybe for other organizations to look at.
Well, thank you, Marilyn. That's very good. Any other questions or comments in general? It says Steve Baum is on the call now. Steve, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. I had a couple of other meetings that were around this one, so I figured I would join the call real quick. I'm Steve Bond. I'm running for trustee in Wheatland Township, and great to see all of you. And hi, Kelly and Anita, and if anyone else I missed from our slate. I'm sure they've done a good job in representing our slate.
Indeed, they have. As a matter of fact, all the township candidates, I do regret that I didn't seem to get anybody from Naperville Township. We'll have to beat them up a little bit and we'll bring them back. They were invited, as a matter of fact, the very first. For you Southerners, okay, you know, I want you to know that I really, really need your help to get the message out. Being a lifetime historic preservation and historic district guy, I don't know that much about the South, and I really do need to reach out. You know, I have joined the Wheatland Township Democratic Organization, and I support your slate of candidates. And I hope that, you know, you can work with me like Naperville and Lau has to distribute our literature and get our message out. So thank you, South. All right. Well, I guess if that's it today, the only other thing I would talk about is one topic, and it's near and dear my heart. I really like what I see from a community involvement that's going on in planning and zoning. I mean, even though it's been taking forever, okay, the community turnout associated with the Islamic Center of Naperville is something, the only word that comes to mind is outstanding. I mean, we're talking about hundreds of people, and yes, it's taking a really long time to grind through the process, but that is the spirit. That is what makes democracy work, is people's involvement. Just like all you candidates here today, being involved, you know, this is a beautiful thing to see. Now, there's questions and issues that are going on, and there are always going to be controversies, but I do believe that I've seen some of the best dialogue of all going on in this forum. So if you haven't been following it, it's really pretty inspirational because there's so many people involved in it. It's great. I mean, I felt great. I remember when we were holding the meeting for Save Old Nichols. I had the opportunity actually to chair that meeting for historic preservation. And we had hundreds of people. at that, you might remember in the old days when people actually would go to city council and they would sit there and, you know, it was filled. It was awesome. But virtually, if you look what's going on in planning and zoning, it is astounding. So great to hear it. I'm glad to see everybody talking, and I'm confident that Tallgrass and ICN are going to work this out to a mutual beneficial solution. There's been really good dialogue there. Okay. Other than that, you know, that's all I have. Is there any other questions or any? Yes, Lisa.
One thing I wanted to say, and I'm going to take a page from Allison Lagenbach's book, is I noticed that she goes to the city council meetings and then she goes through and talks about what happened and what it means for the community, just kind of puts it in really digestible points. I would like to see township meetings do the same thing. I would like to see budgets broken down so that normal people without an accounting degree can actually understand where the money goes. I think that would go a long way to being kind of more transparent and also, you know, making people or helping people to trust us, you know, with their taxpayer dollars. So that's it. That was one last thing.
I guess I do have one more question for the township people. We talked about the 6 townships. What are those actual borders? I mean, you know, Naperville Township, Lisle Township, and Wheatland. How does that all come together? I secretly know the answer to this.
All right. Do we have a volunteer? Autumn, you're showing up on my speaker view. Should I yield?
Go ahead, take it, Drew.
Okay, so a typical township is going to be about 6 miles by 6 miles. It's used to identify land, and then cities just sprawl out wherever they want and then absorb whatever they can. So Lisle Township has roughly the borders of Woodward Avenue in Downers Grove, and it may be as far south as Woodridge, and then 83rd Street on the south, 87th Street on the south edge, and then roughly about Washington Avenue in Naperville. And it's going to be south of 56, but north of 34. So, and there's no easy east-west route, but each township is the ideal fantasy township is 6 miles by 6 miles. And if there is a mountain or a river or something of that nature that makes it more convenient to change the shape, then the shape gets changed.
Well, thank you. So that gives us Lisle Township. Naperville Township then I believe starts west of Washington Street, and it runs into Aurora, right? It has the same north and south boundaries as Lisle Township. Okay, what about Wheatland? Do you start at 87th and just go on forever? It just seems like there's a lot of space, a lot of land down that way.
Okay, I am going to just admit that I still use my GPS to get out of my neighborhood, and I've lived here for 18 years. But we do start around 87th and we go all the way down into Plainfield. And we're parts of Bolingbrook and Aurora as well. So we've got, while it's the same, it's definitely spilling over into those different towns and cities, however, and villages. However, I think it kind of goes the other way, like they're spilling into us.
Well, thank you. And just again, just remind me, there is a meet and greet for Wheatland Township slate tonight, right? At 6 o'clock, is that right?
Yes, Mark. Yeah,
that's right. Very good. Okay, so I don't want to miss a plug when we got a chance, when we have this outstanding candidates. Anyhow, thanks everyone for showing up. You know, it's been a great meeting. Like I said, we should have this up on YouTube for you. So feel free. I know some people have asked, can I use it? Of course you can. Mark. It's open source. Yes, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Nathan.
No, I could do this next time if you want, just as well. But I think you had previously mentioned wanting me to touch on a couple of the issues of the police reform bill, 3653, I think it was.
I think
I
that
can do
that's
it now or
important.
next time if you want.
Why don't we do it next time and we'll actually make that an issue so we can actually bring it in and have people focus on it. I always try to get us in here around 45 minutes to an hour. This is a lot to ask for people. And I don't want to rush that conversation, Nathan, because it's a worthy one, particularly if you put some effort into it. So I'm interested in following up. Why don't we just table that to next week? That's the neat thing about the weekly the campaign forum. It's weekly. It's up till the election, okay? And in keeping if I am elected, it is my intent to keep this going and to continue to broaden, to try to get a more direct input into city council so we can get resident input. I think it's very important. One of the things that happened, one of the issues that I had in my time with this Historic Preservation Commission, what I have discovered is that, often, the process, the applicant is allowed to bring his attorney. The attorney makes at least a 10-minute speech. They can bring their experts. They have a lot of talk. And I had asked City Attorney Mike DeSanto, I said, Mike, can we have a representative from HPC to present effectively, a response? And what Mike told me is, no, you can't, because that's the job of city council. Okay, city council needs to be the representative, the advocate for the citizens, and that's the role that I'm trying to get. Okay, is to advocate for the citizens. There's a lot of stuff that happens long before it gets to the public because of the process. By the time it gets to planning and zoning, many things have already been done. Okay, we need to be able to inform people what's going on before it's done, and that's what I would like to do. Okay, if there's any other questions or anything else, I want to thank all the candidates for taking your time today. For the residents who's turned out, thanks again. This is what counts, is participate. It doesn't matter who you vote for. It matters that you vote your heart and your mind, but it matters that you vote. Okay, thank you and have a great day.